Why do you do what you do?
Without mental and emotional wellness, not even a single company can make huge profits.
Let's first explore the diversity of addiction in relation to mental health.
There is just so much that contributes to a person's failure or success. It is actually that your mind is your greatest enemy. You're not the greatest enemy with person D didn't do this for you, but it's because of where your state of mind is.
When do you know to say I'm addicted?
One of the key components of emotional intelligence is self-awareness. So when we talk about addiction, we're talking about someone who is not aware that they have a problem. What's triggering me to take so much alcohol? Why am I going around sleeping with every person? Why am I using hate speech? Those little things that trigger you to act the way you do.
Before this episode begins, I would love to urge you, our viewers and listeners, to please subscribe and hit the notification bell if you haven't, just so you can get an update every time we upload a new video. I won't go further. I have a very tumultuous guest who needs no introduction. Her name is Victoria Mpinde. Did I get it right?
Yes, you did.
Okay. I was actually wondering to say if I'll be able to get it right. These surnames. What tribe is that?
Bemba.
Oh, Bemba. So you actually okay. I'm Tembo, by the way.
Yeah. I noticed that.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. Okay, so kickstart. I would like you to introduce yourself to the people, in case there's I'm just speaking from a certain demography of people who tend to pretend as though they don't know you. Yeah, so I would like to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself and get to tell us who is Victoria.
Victoria is a social worker by profession, a multi-award winning mental health advocate, CBT therapist, licensed therapist that is, and a corporate mental health consultant. I am focused on emotional intelligence, and I train corporate organizations, individuals on emotional intelligence. So basically that's who I am. Plus I'm a mom, so yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, brilliant. Okay, I think that's great. You wear so many hats. I wonder how you manage doing that. Your profession is something, it's so involving, and plus many hats that you wear, and you being a mom, how have you been managing so far? How's it been?
I think it's balance. I don't trade being a mom with anything else. I love to say it's my number one job, which has got no leave days, no rest,
yeah, it's
and no payouts as well.
Oh, so, yeah, true.
It's my number one job. So being a mom for me means I put first everything that I have to do. So my priorities are mom first, okay, and service later.
Yes. Oh, okay, so that makes sense.
It's just balance. It's about balancing your work and also having a relationship with your children, on what to do so they understand the scope of your work. Sometimes I get to carry my children around my engagements.
Oh, okay. Really? Wow, yes, that's amazing. So are you trying to maybe expose them to the external world earlier at an early stage, or are you doing that on purpose? Or is it just the fact that there's nobody to remain with them at home or everything? Because I know how moms are.
The main reason why I choose to expose or to carry my children alongside assignments is because I'm big on mentorship. So that's a way to mentor my children. There's no any other way to mentor. Children do what they see you doing. So my parenting style is mentorship. I don't tell my kids to read when I don't read. So okay, like that. So mentorship is the main reason. Apart from, yes, they get exposure, they get to access this huge network and ABCD. But if you can't coach a child at an early age, that child will be unemployable in the next 30 years.
True. I'm one victim as well. Lucky enough, I got exposed to things at a tender age. My parents were, I don't know if that was to my advantage, but my parents were people where they would mind their own business. The only time they could get to spend time with the children is on Sundays. No disrespect, but that's how it was. So that I saw an opportunity. I don't know if it's Scott, because he has his own way of working. Because in that I saw an opportunity to explore myself to the world, get to interact with a lot of people, different people from different age groups, and I think that itself taught me a lot. And today I'm appreciating the fact that they were not too strict on me. I don't know how other parents are, but I think it happens either ways. Once you're strict with the children, it's either ways. It's either on the good side or the bad side. So I think for me, that really played a very, very huge role, in the sense that I'm here today because of because of my ability to explore and be able to embracing a lot of different ideas, how things are handled. Yeah, so I think that's a perfect idea, you exploring your children in that manner. I think by the time do you want one of your children to be like you?
I want them to be more than me.
Oh my.
Not like me.
Not like you?
I want them to do more. Okay. I am a mentor, and what I tell my mentees is, I want to be like you, I want to be a therapist, I am studying psychology, I'm doing this, but I always say I want you to do more than me, because I think that's the power of the mentor. If the people you are coaching can be more, then you have excelled.
Oh yeah, true. Okay, quick one. It's one question I've been asking myself ever since I came across you. Why do you do what you do? Do you just do it?
Why do I do what I do?
Yes. Do you just do it for money? Do you just do it for the sake of passion? I don't know.
Wow, that's a good question.
Yes.
Why do I do what I do?
Yeah.
Mental and emotional well-being influence every facet of an individual's life. So when you're talking your personal relationships, it's based on how mentally and emotional breast you are. When you talk about productivity, when you talk about school, you talk about business, you talk about all these things. So mental health is the focus. It's right in the middle of success. So I do what I do because I have realized that there is just so much that goes that contributes to a person's failure or success. And while in Africa we want to blame others for our failures or success, it is actually that your mind is your greatest enemy. You're not the greatest enemy with person B or person C or person D didn't do this for you, but it's because of where your state of mind is. So I do what I do because I believe that without mental and emotional wellness, not even a single company can make huge profits.
Oh yeah, true. So it's like a pivotal role in as far as success is concerned.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Wow. So you've talked of mental health rather being the most important aspect of a human being. There are a lot of challenges that humans come across day by day. Talk of addiction is one of them. So to run us through this episode for tonight, today rather, is let's first explore the diversity of addiction in relation to mental health, or rather should we narrow it down to emotional intelligence, which is your specific field as far as mental health is concerned. Yes, you can be into these others, but I know for a fact that emotional intelligence is one of them.
Big on emotional intelligence.
Exactly. So let's narrow it to that aspect. What is addiction aside the Oxford
dictionary?
Yeah, the explanation we get from the Oxford explanations and everything.
The simplest definition is addiction is when you're dependent on something that is harmful to your well-being, to your day-to-day functioning. So a quick example is you wake up every morning before you understand what your day is going to be about. The first thing that you do because you're obsessed is you check your socials. That's an addiction. Okay. And you go throughout the whole day checking your socials. Like, what are you doing there? Yeah. You can't be 24 hours, 7 days a week. You are hurrying, you are commenting the latest gist. You are everywhere. You are putting up status. You are addicted.
Yeah, true.
Okay, you are the person behind the keyboard. And while you are putting all those comments, you are utilizing social media in the way that you like, you're losing out on productivity time. So if you feel like you can't do without social media, you are addicted. And if social media has become so harmful to your emotional well-being, meaning social media determines how you dress, how you talk, what you eat, which places you go to, like they have set a standard for key decisions in your life, then you are addicted. So addiction is you being unable to live or to cope without something. So you could be addicted to drugs, you could be addicted to alcohol, you could be a workaholic even. So addiction in this country is looked at, we're only talking about drugs. You could be addicted to sex. You could just be roaming around the street and want to sleep with every person out there. And that's a problem. So coming to emotional intelligence. So one of the key components of emotional intelligence is self-awareness. So when we talk about addiction, we're talking about someone who is not aware that they have a problem, because that's the tricky part with addicts. Yes, they will understand, but yeah, I'm drinking too much, I need to stop. But they can't stop because they haven't come alive to the fact that they are addicted. And even if they want to, they don't have motivation, which is a key component of emotional intelligence, and they are also not self-aware. So self-awareness means more than just being aware. It means knowing what triggers you. So you need to know what's triggering me to take so much alcohol. Why am I going around sleeping with every person? Why am I using hate speech? You know, those little things that trigger you to act the way you do, or to consume the alcohol, to consume the liquor, to inject yourself with substances. That's what emotional intelligence does for you.
Okay. Wow. So drawing back on addiction, you've talked of the harmful effects that it brings about, but then here's someone who's not emotionally intelligent, quote unquote, and then they want to find out if they're addicted or not. When do you know to say I'm addicted? Is it due to the frequency in doing something, or maybe is it just something that just comes abruptly, where you just say, okay, I think I'm addicted?
The easiest way, Daniel Bazima, CEO of Sanity House, addiction recovery coach, he himself has been addicted before, puts it this way: when it's affecting what you do, then you know you need to get help. So simple. Yes, you take alcohol every day, but can you study even if you take the alcohol? Can you work? Do your finances get affected? Does your drinking affect your relationships with your family, your personal relationships, your relationship with your workmates, your employees, if you're an employer, or your colleagues in the workspace. So when your addiction starts to affect your functionality, it starts to affect your relationships, it starts to affect your work, your business, your school, then you have a problem. So you can take alcohol every day, but if you're saying it doesn't affect anything I do, everyone is happy, my partner is happy, my family is happy, they don't complain about my addiction, or I am able to produce results, then you're not addicted.
Okay, so it mainly circles around how it affects your environment.
Yes, so you have a problem when you're not able to perform, especially performance on a personal level, things like school, work, business. You're not able to hit those targets, you're slacking, okay, then you have a problem. So the first people who would obviously tell you you're not emotionally intelligent, yes, the best people who normally point out this to you are people closest to you, your family, your partner. They'll begin to see you slacking. They'll see you not pushing, not bringing targets. And then you know that you've got a problem.
Okay, wow. So personally, I've been a victim of addiction.
Whoa.
Yeah. It takes a lot of guts to open up, but yeah, I've been an addict for quite some time. That was for over 3 months, as far as I can remember.
Okay.
Yes. So I've been a victim of addiction, not until I came across your works. That's when I actually got to know of emotional intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I was like, emotional intelligence, it sounds so interesting. How about I research on it? That's when I endeavored into the research. I found out a bit about it. Yeah, it has to do with how you understand yourself and everything. So I've been trying rather to put everything in place, like how do I know myself? Like how do we're on emotional intelligence, right? So I want to fight this addiction, but then how do I discover myself rather?
Okay.
What are the key steps to discovering myself?
I take it you're talking about self-awareness. So firstly, before we get into how do you know yourself, how did you quit, or how did you jump from road of addiction to non-addict?
Not really did I overcome the addiction. I'm still fighting against it. Yes, but when I came to know of your works and everything, I was like, that's when I discovered emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
That's when now I started thinking to say, maybe I can utilize this tool as a mode for me to recover from this addiction.
Are you seeking help? Professional help?
Not really.
So the first thing that I would say to you, as a professional, I believe that's the role of a therapist or someone professional, an addiction therapist in this case. Therapy brings you up to speed with the state of your mind, and helps you to be self-aware. So in therapy, it's not just a simple talking session like you're talking to your friend or your brother. I had a bad day. Therapy helps you to understand what triggers me to behave the way I do. It triggers you to understand how you feel at a certain time, your emotions, because trust me, most of us don't even understand how we feel. Even when I ask you, how are you? You say, I'm fine. But the question is, how are you really feeling? Are you anxious? Are you annoyed? Are you afraid? It's all those emotions that therapy would help you to get. So the first step is get someone to coach you to understand you better. Of course, you using behavioral therapy too, it will trigger a lot of things. You get to understand to say, this is what I need to do. When I feel this way, this is how I can control it. Because with addiction, it's easy to have a relapse. It's very easy to go back to your old ways. Whether you've been seeking professional help or not, but if you don't understand the self-awareness part, it becomes a challenge to live straight with yourself, because there are always things that trigger you to go back to your old ways.
Yeah, true.
So the first thing is get coached, and that will help you understand yourself better. It's the same even with anxiety. It's the same with panic attacks. It's the same with depression. It's the same with stress. What triggers your stress, and what do you do when you're stressed? That's where emotional intelligence comes in. And you can't just, it takes a long time to understand that. Personally, I have an experience. I think in 2018, I was diagnosed with epilepsy. So we have no epileptic disease in my family. I'm the first one. And that came from some trauma I suffered after childbirth. So that triggered everything. But what I learned going forward, it took me years to learn this, almost 3 years. This wasn't taught to me by any neurologist or what. I had to learn certain things. I had to learn, okay, when I'm feeling this way, my brain is tired and I need to stop. When I do this, I trigger a certain activity in my brain that causes the seizures and etc., etc. I've been 2 years straight, no epileptic drugs, no seizure, no nothing. I don't even go for checkups. Because I had to rediscover what triggers me. I had to rediscover when my brain is saying stop, hold on, quit, and all these things. All these things were a learning process. Before, I think in a year I would have almost 3 to 4 seizures, but when I have them, they were back to back. So I would be straight and I would lose my memory. I think when the seizure happens, it will take me almost like 6 months to recover and to get back. So with any mental illness disorder, the key thing is awareness, because awareness is what makes you survive without the help of a professional. A professional is just there to help you to understand yourself better. So as professionals, we always like to say we don't make people dependent on us totally. You're not supposed to be coming back for therapy all the time. No. You're supposed to understand yourself. So during that session with a professional, there are what we call mind exercises. Those mind exercises are what coach you to identify those things, to know yourself better.
Okay, so it's basically trying to say is that what I'm basically trying to say is that it's the little things that matters, the little rewards that we...
The little loopholes, they're just small things that will trigger some, like an alcoholic. Just something small, maybe a disappointment, and then they'll go back.
Yeah.
Just something. So maybe a word that someone would utter, that's why you behave like this because you are A, B, C, D, and then they'll revert back. So they're just small things. And also in the same vein of social media, just learning to shut your mind. That just be selective with what you hear. For me, I'm very selective, and my job basically is I'll do my thing on Facebook and whatever. I even give myself a schedule. I'll be on social media from 15 to 16 and I'll leave. Or I'll post in the morning and I'll go back 15 and 16 and I'll check, because I'm trying to regulate how much time. Social media can be very addictive. It's so fun to say, oh, I have 100 people who are liking my what, and then you'll be thinking, my content is very good and things like. It's very easy to be going back there to be checking, who is this person who is following me now? This organization is following me. They are beginning to like me. It's very easy to be engulfed in social media. Yeah. But if you regulate your usage, it's actually okay. And that is also the same with addiction. So whatever you're addicted to, start withdrawing bit by bit. It's called the withdrawal method. So if you take 10 bottles of alcohol every day, you can start taking 8.
Okay.
So it's a gradual process. It won't happen overnight because I don't want
Abruptly.
to do this like it's magic.
Yeah.
It's a gradual process. So from 8, by the time it's December, you find that you're on 1 per day.
Yeah,
Next
true.
year, you find 0. You're clean because it's a gradual process. But the problem with addiction comes because people are in a hurry to change.
Yeah.
Obviously, because of the pressure that's mounted on by family, by work, and whatever, there's so much pressure for that person to recover. But one thing that is forgotten is for that person to reach that stage, they had started utilizing whatever whether it's alcohol, whatever they're doing, bit by bit. So when we talk sex addiction, for example, it started by watching maybe pornography, bit by bit. So immediately you will not get addicted to sex. So you start from pornography, you start masturbating. Gradually you'll be graduating.
Yeah.
From one stage to another.
Exactly.
And that's how it is also with quitting or being clean. It's a step closer. So you take 8 a day, you take 10, you take 9. You eventually your mind will now begin to get, because what it is that the mind gets used to what it's accustomed to. So if you accustom yourself to drinking 10, your mind also demands that you drink 10.
Drink 10, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a gradual process.
Wow. So looking at addiction, how does it affect the functionality of the brain? How does it degrade the normal state of the brain? Because eventually, once you're addicted to something, it's one thing that you tend to do every now and then, and it's one thing that yes, you can get rid of. Your brain is used with it, and but does it affect the mental processes in any way or the other?
Yes, actually it does. Addiction comes with, depending on what you're taking. Again, depending on what you're addicted with. But it has the ability to reduce the activity of the brain. That's number one. And what it also does, it helps you to lose motivation in just doing anything. Like you just don't care.
Okay.
You lose a lot of motivation, and the effect is really dependent on what you're taking. For example, if you're taking what is known as Volo.
What's that?
Heroin.
Oh, okay. Streets, that's what it's called. Where did you learn that from? Oh, okay. Okay.
So Volo is that substance. When you look at the cowboys, that substance that makes people look as if they are dozing or they are sleeping, and yet they are awake. Yeah, true. That's Volo. So Volo can be accessed at from 10 to 15 kwacha, depending on your neighborhood.
Okay.
That's 15 kwacha is the most. So it's very.
Do you know the price? How did you know? Okay. Okay.
So with Volo, it's one thing that Volo does, it affects your sleeping patterns. Okay. It affects your eating patterns. It also affects your productivity levels. So which means that someone on Volo wouldn't want to work. They just want quick money to feed their addiction. Okay. So meaning, because they want quick money, they'll steal. These are the so-called junkies, those boys we like calling. They attack at this time because their business is just, I want to feed my addiction. Yeah. And that's it. So they're willing to do about anything because they feel like working takes a lot of time to achieve what they want.
Exactly.
So it affects their sleeping patterns. It affects their mood as well. So when they try to sleep, like someone will be awake for the whole night, and when they try to sleep, it will be very difficult for them to sleep. So they are easily startled. There's a lot of anxiety again that is released, and then with anxiety, there's a hormone called endorphin that is released. So endorphin stops you from sleeping, stops your brain activity, and it also affects a lot of your eating patterns. So volo will affect your brain like that. Volo. So when it affects your brain like that, you now get to what we call induced psychosis disorder. So this is the stage now where we see people roaming around the streets, running away, or just doing things that on a normal day they wouldn't do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that. Wow.
So it depends with what drug you're taking.
Okay. That is what determines the effect.
That's what determines the effect on the brain.
Okay. Well, coming to social media, I think most youths nowadays is that the one thing that's eating them up is social media addiction, like you've put it. What do you think is the best steps that the government, rather, let's put it on a country level, the government can be able to put?
But why are we focusing on the government? I have a problem with putting blames on the government.
No, not really.
Not putting a blame, but putting an entire responsibility on the government. I have a very big problem with that. Because you see, mental wellness is not like economic development.
Yeah.
For economic development or for entrepreneurship to thrive, it is the job of the government to provide that conducive environment, meaning business registration and all those things. And that's why we say now cooperatives coming up, and all those things. That's the role of the government. But with mental wellness, there are acts in place that support mental health. The Ministry of Health now, under this new Dawn government, is big on mental health. There's a National Mental Health Committee that was late. They are trying to foster registration of mental health organizations right now at Ministry of Health. There's so much policy work that is going to making sure that the system in mental health is cleaned. But guess what? Mm-hmm. With addiction, with mental health, it's an individual thing. I'm passionate about personal mental health.
So
it's individual, it's your decision. It's an individual business. It's different from the government. Doesn't recognize there are no mental health services in the government. Shani, it's expensive. Of course, those are loopholes in the health system. But when it comes to addiction, it's your personal responsibility. You can't be online from 6 to 6, from 8 to 5. What are you doing online? Like for me, I feel like it's a personal responsibility. And yes, the government can can have more rehab centers and not only one, like the case is now. And also that one is not functioning so well.
Yeah.
So what the government can do, can have different rehab centers, of course up-to-date rehab centers in different parts of the country. But for addiction, it is your personal responsibility to take care of it, your personal. And then with the social media space in Zambia, social media always buzzes over negative content. It thrives on negativity. So most of the young people you're talking about, they're looking for gossip.
Yeah.
They are the people who are behind the keyboards who bully people online. And again, that goes back to parenting styles. That goes back to overindulgence. We have got young people who are bitter, who just say, things don't work out for me. I didn't have a choice and whatnot. But everyone always has a choice,
Yeah.
So the first thing that we can do for our young people is let's invest in mentorship and coaching. Young people are, every young person will give an excuse. No, because this happens to me, I'm an orphan, so that's why I'm always here. Like, I don't have what to do. Like, there are just always ways that you can hoover around your situation. So as a young person, your responsibility is take care of your mental and emotional well-being. How do you do that? Deal with those things that make you angry. I was also like that. I'm a single orphan. So until it dawned on me when I was in grade 11, say, actually, no one owes me anything. I was so annoyed with my family because they never chipped in. But I just said, no one owes me anything, and I'm not going to ask for help from anyone. and I move on with my life like that. So this entitlement of thinking, no, because your father died, everyone owes you something. Like, your father didn't leave all those things. So just get up and wake up. So the problem is that young people are not taught to be responsible over their actions. I'll take you back to a story that has been trending. Kre Mayumba, I think that's the name. The guy whose wedding was sponsored, I think, some 2 years ago. And then I saw it. He was saying his wife was gotten from him. He didn't finish paying. She's remarried. The point is, people flooded that person with money without coaching his brain, his mind, to change for the current responsibility. So how do you give someone money who doesn't even know what to do with the money? How do you dash him 10,000 kwacha?
Doesn't make sense.
Good, And so we have a lot of these young people who are like Kre, who receive so much help from people, but because their mind is not in a right state, that is misused. And what do they do next? They start crying foul. I wasn't helped. But that's a wedding that people sponsored.
Yeah, true.
So the point is, young people need to be coached and to take responsibility. We're not helping them if we're telling them, no, it's because of the government. The government has nothing on you.
Yeah,
Work, deal with yourself, invest in yourself,
Yeah, true. Well, like Dusanin Guru would always say is the fact that excuses expire. You can be 40 years and start saying the government is not doing this. You're not successful today because the government is.
The government has nothing on you.
Yeah, true. So yeah, true. So, but I was speaking rather from a certain demography of people the ignorant demography of people who'd think as though it's just on the government. So I wanted you to highlight on the special faculties where the government plays their role, but to a certain level. 90% is a human being, is you yourself and how you're natured. So you've talked much about the upbringing, which is like the most important aspect of a human being. So maybe let's start by you taking us on a memory lane. Like, just tell us more about your childhood. How was your childhood like? How were you nurtured? Because everybody else would want to have the intelligence that you have at the moment. Yet, they wouldn't want to be therapists, but they would want to have the certain information that you've actually embraced.
My upbringing.
Yeah.
I was raised by a single mother. My dad died when I was 3 years old. So when my dad died, my mother is not someone who entertains pity parties to start with.
Yeah.
So she's not the type that you have had a bad day and you reach home and you start crying. My mother doesn't entertain that to start with. So my mother raised me in such a way that she made me, I think, we've shared an open type of relationship. She would tell me things to say, okay, this is what it is. I remember when I was in grade 10, she told me, you know what? When you're naked with a man, and then she was speaking in Bemba, and now the result is walakwatef. No, do you look at those young girls who are on a bus selling? That will be you if you're not careful.
Yeah.
That's. So I was raised in an open type of parenting style. She wasn't strict, but she values a lot of open communication. So meaning that I'll be free to go anywhere.
True.
But there's a but. You need to tell her where you are.
Oh yeah.
And what you'll be doing. So my mom values a lot of open relationship, open communication. So she's not the type that will want you to say, no, I'm about to get married. You go and tell your auntie from the village, and then the auntie will come to visit at your home, and then the auntie will tell your mom to say you want to get married. So my mom values open communication. That's number one. So I was raised in an environment where open communication is key. And my mom always says, even when I don't pick up the phone, she always says, I don't know why you do that, because me, I believe in open communication. she will tell me I'm a bad communicator. So my mom values open communication. I think that's what has led me to be where I am. Number 2, I think with my type of situation, I was just like every other kid out there. No sponsorship. I completed my grade 12. I had to work. I had to start work when I was 16, etc., etc. But my mother never allowed me to start thinking that there is no hope. Actually, she went out to go to these non-governmental organizations to plead for scholarships.
Oh, wow.
Until I got one. She did that for years, almost 3 years. She did that every day and every morning to just look for such an opportunity for me. Not even, and in those dark moments, she has never even told me, no, your father's relatives don't care about you because they're not giving you money or A, B, C, D. She's never put in my mind that those people owe me anything. But she's always put in my mind that I need to work hard. So I grew up in an open relationship. Now that's number 1. And I also grew up in a place where my mother values excellence. Hey, like my mother would have her own cutoff point. Yes, the government would tell you, you have to get 640 at grade 7 and things like that. My mother would have her own. And that her own is the one you need to beat. So if she tells you, my children should get maybe 450 at grade 9, it's that. She doesn't care whether at school they told you 330.
Okay.
So if you don't beat her mark, then you are failed. And she would even tell you, I'll repeat you, I don't have shame if you don't reach my mark. So number 1, it's excellence. Number 2, I think it's hard work. And number 3, my mother is not someone who buys excuses. Like, those things where you want to give it, no, I'm tired, my head is spinning, I'm from school. She'll just tell you, you're the only one who's tired. Like, just keep working, keep on, just keep on going on. So that's the type of person that raised me. Apart from that, she always embraced God. And every time I'm going for engagements, my mother always says, this is showing too much. Like, she has this certain image of what she believes her children should look like or should be all the time.
Oh, wow. It's like a diverse kind of childhood.
It's very diverse.
Yeah,
so
independent.
I never had everything that I wanted, by the way. As I said, I grew up with a single mom. So there were times we didn't have food, yes. There are times my school fees were not paid. There are times we struggled. There are times we were evicted from the house. There were all these crazy times. But one thing is certain. It's open communication all the way. Yeah. My mom wasn't someone who would, even in her personal relationships, she would tell you, this is my boyfriend. Because it was she would even tell you, I'm being open to you because I expect the same from you. And it is that open type of relationship, I think, that is very important, because even when things happen to me, I won't be afraid to say, I can't tell my mother. I have to pass through my grandmother to come and tell my mother for me. And those are the processes she really doesn't like. Because she believes I've raised you in an open relationship, so I want you to be as open as possible. Yeah. So I think when it comes to parenting, parents have a responsibility to put in their children's minds to say, nobody owes you anything.
Yeah.
So that even when their uncles say they don't have money to give them for school, they won't go back with the mindset, say, my uncle prefers his own biological children to me. That's why he has not given me money. You understand?
Yeah, sure.
It is the parents' responsibility to remove the entitlement syndrome. And the other thing, my mother never allowed us to ask for money.
No.
Growing up, we were not given money for lunch. Everything was packed for us. There was not even coins. We would not even walk away with coins. Nothing. Not even 1,000 those days. Those days there were no coins. But like, she was very strict on money. And that also gave us a sense of responsibility to say we're not supposed to ask for money from anybody.
Yeah, true.
So raising a child means you teach them the way, and they understand why they should not ask for money.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So what parenting these days is about, making your children feel so entitled. Yes, it's good to give them things, but as you are giving them those gifts, let there be structure on how they should use those things. Let there be a certain structure you have put in place, and be bold enough to follow them as a parent, which means that your children will not grow up with entitlement. I had a situation with my daughter, and she says, you must give me 20 kwacha. I just told her, look, when I give you money, it's because of my kindness. Yeah. It's not that you're entitled to it, it's my money.
Yeah, true.
So when I bought the tablet, I told her the same. The rules is that Monday to Friday, you don't use a tablet. You've opened school. Use it on Saturday and Sunday. Finish. There are no debates about it.
Yeah, no two ways about it.
Because I've put that structure for her to understand that I'm not supposed to be entitled. So immediately I said, look, feeling that she started to get entitled over my money, I said, look, you don't have money of your own. You cannot be entitled. And it is that structure that I've put to ensure she can't even when she meets you for the first time, she won't tell you that I want money.
Oh, yeah.
Even if she's gotten used to you, because that's the type of system I've put in place. But we have kids, teenagers who are entitled.
Yeah.
They think because this person is my cousin, I see her on social media, Victoria is always posting, she has money. When we don't give them, no, Victoria doesn't want to give me. Like, it's because of what you tell the kids when they are growing up. That's why there's this entitlement. And entitled children are disgruntled, are disoriented, distorted, emotionally and mentally, and they can do about anything to get where they want to be.
Oh yeah. So I've learned a couple of things from what you've just alluded to. There's parenting is like the bridging gap between a lot of diverse issues like success, ensuring that their children in the near future have got stable mental health. They really understand the value of mental health and hard work, everything that circles around. I think it narrows the sense of getting addicted to something when your upbringing was kind of done in a way that you weren't given an opportunity to give excuses. You weren't given an opportunity to do other things rather than the right things and the right things only. I think parenting also is one of the key factors as far as mental health and addiction is concerned. Well, okay, with that being said, I don't want to go any further than this. I think it's a wrap from here. First, before we wrap, I would like you to make mention of the upcoming events, what people wants to get through to you and everything. Tell us a little bit more about your contact details, the upcoming events, and what we look up to next.
Okay, so to start with, 2nd June, we have the launch of a men's mental health support community network, like I want to call it, and we'll be talking about men's mental health. So in this will be held at the Global Platform Zambia, right opposite University of Zambia, here in Lusaka. The charges are $150, which includes refreshments and snacks. So among the guests, we have Antonio Mwanamuke, who we all know as Yellow Dove. So Yellow Dove will be our guest speaker. He'll come and tell us more about his new song, which has his lived experience with bipolar. And that experience is also in his book, Born to Win. So we also have Daniel Mbazima, who is an addiction recovery coach and also a former addict. His story is not new. We have a suicide survivor, Duncan Koma. We have a few other men who are living with ADHD, depression, who will come and share their stories to our lovely men as we launch this support group. So the support group is free for all men. Wherever you are, the support network will be free. So we're hoping that you'll come. In June, we also have emotional intelligence coaching. So this will be a one-on-one, which will use the behavioral, cognitive and behavioral therapy too. So it's not just a class, but it's us kushungurusha, turning your brain from thinking in a certain way, transforming mindsets.
And packing the unwanted.
Therapy, we'll use the therapy method to coach you in emotional intelligence. So that's starting on 17th June all the way up to July. So to be a one-on-one, there'll be virtual and physical sessions, and the price is only 2,500 kwacha. So they'll be held simultaneously, virtual and physical at the same time. So wherever you are, you can still sign up. And then later in the year, I think we have anger management classes, especially those people who say, I get angry. You can't be in a relationship and then you want to, for a relationship, but help. My contact details: LinkedIn, I'm Victoria Mupinde; Instagram, Victoria Mupinde; Facebook, Mental Health Conversations with Victoria Mupinde, and then you can follow me there. And then Fimbi Fika Konka. My email is victoriamupinde@outlook.com.
Okay, with that being said, people, let's reach out to her. Our mental health is very much important. Ensuring that we secure the stable mindset, that's very important. So get to reach her out on those contact details that she's given in. Be sure to attend the events that she's alluded to. In case you want to ask any questions, you can simply follow it up with the contact details that she's alluded to. Okay, people, with that being said, I guess it's a wrap. Please be sure to comment, subscribe, and get to invite a lot of people. Change is in the place. Is in the place. Is in the place. Is in the place.